Republican lawmaker has introduced a controversial new bill some say forces teachers and other faculty to out LGBT students to their families. Konni Burton's bill states that even if a student asked that their sexual orientation or gender identity remain a secret, teachers and faculty can still tell their families if parents ask. The bill states that if teachers do not inform a child's family when they ask, that teacher could face penalties such as termination or suspension without pay. The key word being parents must ask. So do parents deserve total information on their kids? And what does the LGBT agenda look like in the state this upcoming session? That's our topic this half hour. And as always, we like to hear from you on our Fox 26 Facebook page. You can also weigh in on Twitter. Just send me a tweet at Sally Mack, Fox 26. Joining us live in the newsroom is our public policy analyst, Jackie Bally, Democratic media consultant, Mustafa Tamiz, and of course, our moderator. I'm saying you last today. Our senior legal analyst, Chris Tritico. Good morning.
Awesome. Good morning. I thought you forgot about me.
No, I didn't. I was just introducing the other panelists. I don't know. It was just in a different order today. All right. What do y'all think about this?
So, full disclosure, I represent several teachers unions, both statewide and 5 here in the local area, including the Houston Federation of Teachers, the largest teachers union in the state of Texas. And so I come at this from a little bit different perspective. I find this bill troubling, to be honest with you, and stepping out of my role, troubling here from a teacher's perspective to put a teacher's career in jeopardy when a student comes and says we need to keep this between the two of us. It creates a problem for an educator between that teacher-student relationship. Mustafa, let's just start with you. A student who may be just asking simple questions and not necessarily having made a decision about their sexual orientation and just asking questions is now at risk of their parents finding out about something like that.
Especially if they're having a difficult time at home and struggling with this issue. So at first when I read this bill, I thought it was an awful bill, and then when you hear a little bit more about the fact that the parents have to ask, it sounds a little better. At the same time, we just seem to keep taking backward steps in our state rather than moving forward. And another false choice of trying to put out anti-GLBT legislation to satisfy the Republican base. I just think it's a bad idea.
There are parents who, regardless of their child's decision or their child's sexual orientation, would never understand and would not treat their children fairly.
And I agree with your opening statements. I think that our teachers have a lot on their plate to begin with, and to put this additional burden on them, I don't think it's fair. We need to keep this in perspective. I mean, this was one of 400 bills that was filed on just the first day alone. You have bills from Democrats that are asking for state funds to teach people who were formerly incarcerated to do things. So, I mean, there are lots of bills that are on the periphery from both parties that we probably will not even see the light of day. But this one in particular, since we are discussing this one, it is troubling. There are some troubling spots. I mean, unlike my colleague, I really don't see hardly anything that's really uplifting or enlightening about it. The more I read it, the more troubled I am. So we're sort of switching places for this moment.
No, I don't think he was agreeing with it either.
I'm not talking about uplifting. What I was talking about was, you know, when you read it on its surface, it sounds like a very discriminatory bill in many ways. The only thing I found out about it was when parents have to ask.
The only thing that comforted you was the parent had to ask. But that's not comforting. If you talk to a psychiatrist and you do the research on the bill, the psychiatrists are saying that this could really do damage to a child.
But we also have to remember, you know, you said to please the Republican base. Houston is a very liberal city, and we saw what Houston did just last year with the transgender bill. So it's not just a liberal thought. You have a lot of
conservative
people,
thought.
Conservative thought. Thank you. You have a lot of people of color who look at these type of issues as well. I still don't think you're going to see this bill actually get any traction. I think it's going to be one of thousands of bills that's being filed. But you will see, and we're going to talk about it in the next segment, other bills dealing with transgenders.
The fact that we're talking about it, this bill is going to get a lot of traction.
Because that's just how we roll.
No, it's not. It is being discussed across the state, and it's getting a lot of conservative support, and that's why you're going to see a light of day. There's 4,400 bills passed plus so far that have been introduced, but we're not talking about anything.
Doesn't the fact that it's being discussed on our show and shows all over the state and in school districts all over the state do the damage already to the students?
I mean, there's no doubt about it. This is a very important topic for a lot of people. That's what I was saying earlier, not just Republicans. You have a lot of people who are considered liberals, black people who are very strong with their faith. This is a very serious issue for them, and this is something that a lot of them would support. So that's why you will see different versions of this type of bill. But again, I don't think this one's going to go as far as you think.
And talking about, just we got 30 seconds, talking about the children I'm talking about, though, just the fact that we're having this debate would drive children to a place where they won't even ask questions.
Yeah, and that's the challenge with a teacher, like many other professions, is a place where you think things can be kept in confidence. And if you can't rely on that, if you can't rely on that confidentiality, rather than talking to someone, an adult, that can help you, you end up not talking to anybody, and that's the challenge.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. We'll be back in about 20 minutes to talk about another really good topic.
Okay, we'll see you guys then. Thanks for the discussion.